Hey guys, it's Nick Campanella from Taylor Timepieces, and on today's video we're going to be talking about something really interesting, and that's should you polish your watches? So yeah, should you polish your watches or leave every scratch like it's some sort of sacred history? Some collectors swear that untouched, honest wear is the way to go. Others want that showroom shine. But I think the real question is what's actually happening to your watch when you get it polished, and who's making money off of those decisions. I think those are all really important and valuable questions to ask when you're getting something polished, how it's going to affect the value, and things like that. The first part is, essentially, what does polishing really mean? What does it do? And to be clear, polishing isn't just buffing the watch. That could be done with a buffing cloth, which we can get. You can get them online. They are, essentially something called a Cape Cod cloth. What polishing really is it removes a layer of metal, whether that be stainless steel or gold or silver, whatever it is. It softens up those sharp lines. It softens up the bezels, the lugs, the crown, the guards, everything. Once that definition is gone, it's not coming back. And, the idea is it over polished? Is it under polished? I think over polishing, it can look almost melted. It really has no clear defined lines. If you know what you're looking at, and if you don't, you're going to be taken advantage of. Now, here's where I would say there's something that needs to be polished. This is something that you would just give a white polish to. As you can see, there's just some light scratches on the watch itself. You have some wear. And I think that, especially when it comes to something like vintage, collectors can pay a premium for unpolished watches. And I think that's because they want something sharp. They want something with a full case geometry. They want, that watch to hold as much of its history as possible. So usually with vintage watches, I always recommend try to go unpolished if you can. It helps tell the story of the watch a lot better. When it comes to modern pieces, polishing I feel like is fine. That's just my take. I think that over polishing, it can devalue the piece, but I would never polish as a seller. I would never polish before selling. I think it's a rookie move, and unless it's a beater or a dress watch, because you never know what your buyer wants. Some buyers want that unpolished look. Some buyers want that polished look. So here at Taylor Timepieces, we do offer that option to polish for an additional $100, $150, depending on the piece and the metal, which I think is very fair, honestly. People can charge upwards of $300. I saw someone the other day, so they took something to Rolex with $500 for a polish. I think that's ridiculous. And listen, it does make sense sometimes. If it's your daily piece and you don't care about resale, and you just want something clean, I would go with a polish, maybe once a year if possible. That's just kind of my rough estimate, what I use. If you are restoring a wrecked watch that's already been abused, I think that's fine. I think you just have to make sure that you do it right. And so many people do it wrong. So many people just give it to any old bench jeweler, or they give it to anyone who says that they can polish a watch, and then they do a poor job. And like I said, once you polish a piece, it's not like hair. It's not going to grow back. So you want to make sure you do it right. And if you're going to pay a little bit more to get the job done correctly, then that's what I would do. Again, you could always get something professionally polished at the manufacturer, Rolex boutique centers, Grand Seiko, even some AP boutiques. They really know how to maintain those lines. But if you're taking something to your local mall kiosk or your local, jewelry store, I mean, I go there, but I go there to, change a link if needed. I go there to swap some stuff. I have some mobility issues in my hands due to my cerebral palsy. So we do have people in our team that are able to do that stuff that I'm not physically capable to do, even though I know how to do it. With that being said, spend the extra money, get yourself a polish that makes sense. And you don't want to bring something like a Royal Oak into a mall and then you just completely destroy the piece. It just sucks. It's just not something you really want to do. So again, I had given my take on it. Most dealers won't tell you when a watch has been polished. Some don't even know. Full transparency, sometimes I even get tricked up. That's totally fine. But I think, the importance here is education and learning that, every watch is different. Every watch looks different after a polish. And do everything you can to hold on to those details. Because in my mind, a polish is not just cosmetic. It is it's essentially surgery. What they have to do in a lot of cases is take apart this watch, so that when they're putting in the machine, the parts don't get damaged. And if they're going to do that, you want to make sure they do it right. You want to make sure that whoever you're working with is very transparent with what they're doing with your watch, what needs to be done, what parts of the watch is being polished, and pricing. So often I see people that once they get a piece, they drop something off and they don't have a discussion. It's, we talked earlier about how it's not like getting a haircut and that hair doesn't grow back, but in the ways that it is like getting a haircut, when you go to the barber, you talk to your barber beforehand. You never just sit in that chair and say, hey, do whatever you want. So, if you're going to get something polished, talk to your jeweler. Say, hey, listen, I want the bezel polished. I want I want the case polish, but leave the clasp. Or, hey, you know what? Get out some of these dust dibes, make it as light of a polish as possible, but don't touch that case. And as long as there's open communication in terms of pricing and, what's being done with the piece. Again, when it comes to modern pieces, I don't see a problem with it. Again, when it comes to vintage, it's really on a case-by-case basis. I usually like to keep vintage watches unpolished. I think that's how they best keep their value. But modern pieces, it's not a big deal. This piece here we have the Starbucks. It's got a little bit of a ding on the the sides here, and it's something that we're going to bring in for a polish today, and it's going to take maybe a couple hours. We have some contacts. Usually I would say any polish that takes longer than a week or two, be hesitant. You don't want that jeweler holding onto your watch for weeks and weeks and months, unless they're in open communication with you as to why that's the case. But yeah, let me know, drop a comment, in, down below, and let me know what your thoughts are on a polish. Do you think every watch should be polished? Do you like the look of the polished watch? Do you, think it's silly and you want to keep everything unpolished? Everyone is different, and that's the awesome thing about watch collecting is every collector has a different idea of what they want in their collection and what they think is right. So don't let anyone shame you into thinking that, I heard that, I heard that polishing is bad, or I heard, other people say that, polishing is incorrect. There are pros to cons of polishing, as there are pros to cons to many actions in the watch industry and just life in general. So as long as you know those, you kind of know what to expect, which hopefully this video put some light on that for you. I think that you can't go wrong. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. And again, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. I love hearing your stories about watches. I love all the motivation and all the kind words that you guys have been leaving, and even some of the unkind words. I'll be honest, I'm learning every day, and this channel started as someone who wanted to learn how to do the social media stuff and start from the beginning and grow. So I mean, I have tons of room for improvement. Some of those comments, while a little harsh, I do take them into consideration to grow and create better content for you guys. So thanks so much for your time, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.